Now we're going to talk about replay worthy and revenue generating Zoom webinars. Now, before platforms offered a way to live stream, webinars were the gold standard for attracting an audience to teach them something and then make them an offer. Now, don't be fooled, webinars are still powerful today and they do convert well. Webinars are a little bit more formal in that presenters often have slides and their talks are quite a bit longer, usually around 40 minutes with time at the end for a Q&A plus your offer. Now, although there are hundreds of other webinar platforms, Zoom has probably become the most popular in recent years, in part due to its user-friendly controls and its pricing. More than 50% of the Fortune 500 companies now have a company Zoom account, and it's certainly accessible and affordable for small business owners as well and solopreneurs. So what content should you share on Zoom? Now, Zoom itself suggests using the platform to, and I quote, provide thought leadership content, product demos, training sessions, and important product updates and releases. Any of the other topic ideas that we've already discussed in the other modules, they can certainly be adapted to a longer Zoom webinar. If you're not sure if a Zoom webinar is right for your marketing plan, I've got some tips for you. So firstly, before your Zoom, decide on a purpose. Why are you holding this webinar? Always create content that has an end goal in mind. Here are a few popular options. Lead generation. A lead generation webinar is developed to provide value on a specific topic that ties into the problem that you solve for your audience. These webinars often wrap up with a call to action to buy something or join an offer that you're launching or perhaps plan to launch. Secondly, offer delivery. You can host webinars and or masterclasses for people who are already in your paid offers. Monthly coaching calls and hosting guest experts, just like I do in the Public Relations Academy. They are just a couple of things that you can offer your VIP members. Customer retention. Now, many online coaches offer continuation programs for their past clients where they receive one coaching call per month or quarter, for example. Panelist discussion. Invite several of your colleagues or people in supporting niches to host a webinar on a particular topic with you. This helps everyone involved, like they sort of can tap into a wider audience. Have each guest share their registration link, then use Zoom's webinar source tracking tool to see how many leads each partner brought to the webinar. Online summit, much like the panelist discussion, you can actually invite distinguished guests to do a live or record an interview with you on a particular topic. Each speaker promotes the summit to their audiences and you benefit with a new audience exposure. Now, if you've never done a webinar before, or if you fear that you'll get confused trying to manage all of these moving pieces while also trying to speak clearly, hire a VA to assist you in keeping the chat moving, monitoring questions for the Q&A session, and highlighting important quotes from your talk. Now, during your Zoom webinar, you need a strategy. So you don't want to have a boring presentation. Your audience is just one click away from getting sidetracked by something else or losing interest, or even worse, just leaving altogether. So ensure that your webinars are interactive, they're authentic, and they are engaging. Use some of Zoom's more unique features to capture and keep your audience's attention, such as Q&A. You could ask people to use the Q&A feature at different intervals throughout the broadcast, or you could just save them all for the end. When they use this feature, Zoom will keep all the Q&As in one space, so you don't need to scroll through tons of comments. There's also polls, so keep them engaged by asking questions with a poll at regular intervals. This is actually a great way to pull them back in if you've lost them, and just to help gauge whether people are still paying attention. So if I was speaking on pitching podcasts, I might ask, how many of you have pitched a podcast in the last 30 days? Then you can display the poll results in real time and keep the discussion tailored to their answers. Chat. This space isn't just for your viewers. So you, or maybe even your team members, they can also use the chat feature to share resources, links to your program, or other tips. Get creative with giveaways. You might want to let people know that they perhaps should stay till the end of the webinar for a special treat, or you can just surprise them with a pop-up giveaway throughout the broadcast to keep them engaged. Now, reward someone who's posting lots of comments, or randomly have your team draw a winner. Up level with slides and videos. Vary your presentation medium. You don't have to stick with just PowerPoint or Google Slides. You can add in GIFs, show videos, show your face on screen, or highlight some client video testimonials. You can even play with changing the backdrop if you're on screen. Props are quite fun too. Live stream to Facebook. While you'll need a specific link to join a Zoom webinar, you can reach a bigger audience by also streaming the webinar to Facebook. You can stream it inside your private free Facebook group or your paid Facebook groups for past clients or other segments of your audience. Just be sure to have someone on your team manage the Facebook portion of the live stream so you don't miss any comments. Reward and recognize your participants with a special discount and shout outs. Call people by name when possible. Greet them when they come into the room. Ask people what to talk about, where they're from, and introduce themselves. Some people I've seen even play games during the webinar, and they offer other incentives, such as anyone who stays until the end is eligible to receive a special discount or freebie. Other tips. So let people know a pitch is coming, and if it is. So this one's a personal preference. Most people who attend webinars are pretty savvy enough to know that a pitch is likely coming towards the end. Now, after your webinar or your Zoom webinar, record your webinar so you can use it later on different marketing channels. You can send this webinar as a replay to those who couldn't make it live. You can use pieces of it on other channels, so you might want to upload it to Instagram Live or upload it to your Facebook if you didn't stream it live, or even put it up on YouTube. You can also add it to a paid content library or create a paid product out of it. This helps you create value for your audience over and over again. Keep the conversation going. Webinars can be incredible market research. So make sure to pull Q&A reports. You can get this in the Zoom webinar portal. So you can collect all the questions that were asked on the webinar. Then use these ideas to inspire fresh content. You can also use these FAQs to build blogs, podcast episodes, or even other webinars. And you can also send a post-webinar survey. Offer your webinar on demand. Do you have a killer webinar? Well, good news. Zoom can actually allow you to offer on-demand webinars. You can require users to enter their email address to access the recording and then have this info saved in your email marketing software. So I use ActiveCampaign, and this way your followers who couldn't watch live can watch at their convenience. You can also promote this one-on-one demand webinar multiple times during the year while only having to produce and present your slides that one time. A couple of other tips. Keep educational webinars short. You want to provide value, but you don't have to tell your audience every single little thing you know about your topic on the one webinar. Choose one topic for your webinar. So it's an easy way to keep things short. Don't pick a super broad topic. So zero in on a specific topic like 5 Facebook ads copy hacks you need to know, rather than everything about Facebook ads. See the difference? If you give them too much information, their brains will just cut off or just shut off and they'll stop paying attention. If you're unsure about what your audience wants to learn about, then just ask them. A few weeks maybe before your event, send out a survey or poll your social media followers. You might just want to give them some options like a multiple choice, or you might just want to ask it open-ended. And then finally, kick off your webinar by asking people what they're most excited to learn about. You can I often do that, and I'll ask people to answer in the chat, and that way I can tailor my webinar to them, like the content, tailor it to them Just throw in some extra bits, which is really specific to what my audience wants to know about. Now, so if all these steps intimidate you, just start small, host a few meetings with friends or maybe some business peers. Once you get used to the features, you'll get more excited to create